It means وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ, and I trust all my affairs to Allah Subhana wa Taala. Inna Allah basirum bil ibad. Verily or certainly Allah Subhana wa Taala is watching over or seeing his creation, his people. So Allah Subhana wa Taala is always aware of what we are seeing, what we are doing, and what we are actually intending to accomplish. And if we put our affairs in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's court and say that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, I depend totally on you, I will make my best effort, but I as a human being may not have the ability to do what I want to accomplish. And yet, if you want it to happen, it can happen at a split second. So this is the kind of faith one has to have to really more or less live a life as a true believer. This is not very easy to accomplish. It's easier said than done. And yet, this is something that is very clearly told to us, that if you put your affairs to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, that He will take care of you, provided your intentions are good and you are a good person and you follow Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's orders or Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's directions, and look towards His mercy all the time. Do the best you can and leave the rest to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I wanted to bring this subject up basically because I was very impressed by the fact that when Musa alayhi salam went to Pharaoh and had all his people released, free to go, and he just moved with thousands of people, with the cattle, with all the things that they had in their possession, how did he really plan to survive, number one? Number two, how did he actually plan to cross the areas as escape from Pharaoh's army? Obviously, before that, when Moses went there in front of Pharaoh and asked to let his people go, Pharaoh obviously was angry and upset and all, and he basically was telling him that he does not believe in his God, and that he will never let his people go. Then, as you know, I don't want to go into detail of that, but Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala showed His power by making all the water become like blood, so the people would have difficulty really having something. Then the storm came and all that, and even then Pharaoh was not very moved or impressed. And finally, when it became very difficult to survive, when fire started to come under his feet, then he basically said, okay, you can take your people, go. However, afterwards he realized that he had all the power, all the army. So once they were gone for a short distance, he ordered his army to follow them. And the army was supposed to go and then, kind of kill as many people as they could. That's probably what their intention was. Again, that is not the subject. What I'm going to talk about is how Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala planned to save all those people, kill the army entirely, basically including Pharaoh himself. How was that planned? In other words, when Musa alayhi salam is going and he gets to the river, and now he cannot cross, he had to depend on Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala fully, that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will make a way. When people were asking him, where did you bring us? Now look at us. We are now strapped and will be all murdered and killed. And he used the staff that was given to him by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, realizing that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will do whatever his intention was. Musa alayhi salam's intention was that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala knows that it will happen. Now, if anyone was to plan this kind of a defense or this kind of a escape, it's almost unimaginable to plan. That you're going through the water is separated, your people are walking, they cross, and then Pharaoh's army goes in enough so that all of them are basically there. Then the water closes and they are killed. Exactly the way that Musa alayhi salam would have wanted. Now there was no more army left, nobody actually to come on the other side and make their life difficult or miserable. Now the point I am making is, how was that planned and how was that more or less carried out by Musa alayhi salam? Depended on his conviction and on his belief that Allah Subhana wa Taala knows what my intentions are. I want to save my people, get them out of the servitude of Pharaoh, and that these people have suffered enough and now they should have a life freely whereby they can have some kind of a freedom for themselves. And it could have not been done any better way. The best way was not only to make them escape and go to a space where they can live freely, but also to make sure that their enemies are totally destroyed and will not be able to come back and punish them again. Now, this is the message that one should carry. This is possible even today. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has all those powers today that He had at that time, and He will always have these powers. Individually also humans can do this. They can basically have that kind of a faith, that kind of a conviction, and then when they make that intention, and if their intention is really to help other creation of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, to be empathetic to the surroundings that they are living in and the people that they are surrounded by, then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala makes a way for them to be able to carry out their good intentions and be able to really be very close to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Like I always say, remember